We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, Circle 3 is filmed in front of a live studio audience. Unfortunately, the three presenters themselves may not be quite so animated. Good evening.
Yo, yo. What's happening, y'all?
What is happening, everyone? We'll get that right. We'll get that right sometime. At some point, the everyone will actually watch the countdown. I mean, it's only 3 minutes. It's not too hard to get distracted in 3 minutes. I managed to do it too, but hey.
I actually have it on a dedicated smaller screen next to me, which apparently I had paused without realizing it. Thought I had a minute and a half. So
I'm calling that the Memorial Day hangover, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
We're just waiting for our guests. I don't know if they're experiencing some technical difficulties or maybe just some dinner difficulties. Paul almost experienced some dinner difficulties tonight. Domino's is supposed to be fast, Paul. They're supposed to be fast.
yeah, but when they fall, they all fall.
Oh, nice. Well, speaking of holidays, as is my newest tradition, and I know you guys are big fans, Paul and Brandon, but I just wanted to wish you both a happy National Bubba Day. And today is celebrated globally for anyone who may be named Bubba, but this is not a common name. And this holiday specifically targets those who are referred to as Bubba as a nickname or pet name of endearment. So to all the Bubbas in the world.
We call my daughter Bernadette Bubba, so that's really funny. We call her Bubba Lou. And not only that, great segue to that day is that a famous PGA golfer who loves to play disc golf is none other than Mr. Bubba Watson, who most famously posted an Instagram shot of his in of a whale and just got shredded on Instagram for choosing such a horrible putter. Welcome to disc golf, Bubba Watson. Welcome to disc golf.
If you don't know any Bubbas, today is also National, what is it? Where did it go? Kerns fail. Appreciate your dentist day. So, dentists are kind of clutch. You know, you don't want to be rude or piss off your dentist because then you need to find a new one. So,
absolutely,
that's a neat one. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know about you guys. It's been an absolute beautiful week here in Toronto, Ontario. We've had great weather. We've had opportunities to play disc golf. And I've got to play a brand new course a couple times in the last few weeks. We've got a course that some incredible former Ultimate players that just started playing disc golf last year decided, you know what? Our jobs are slow. We've got some time. Let's build a disc golf course because they fell in love with disc golf and they did a damn good job. They built it on a ball golf course, but of the entire 18 holes, there's only one fairway and one tee pad that actually share space with the ball golf course. They utilized woods. They cut down and carved out trees. They utilized a lot of the green space. There were a lot of holes where it was brilliant, where instead of taking a 190, 200 foot wooded space and making it a 200 wooded hole, they took that 200 foot wooded space, cleared some trees out, then utilized the 150, 200 feet of open green space behind it into another wooded space, extended some of the holes. It's a beautiful 18. I've played it 3 times now. And I got to give a huge shout out because I shared in the Disc Golf Ontario group tonight that I was going to give these guys a shout out. Kevin and Chris from the Newcastle Disc Golf Course here in Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much for all your work. And this is a really cool concept. I'm pretty sure they actually leased the space from the disc golf course. And I'm sorry if I'm assuming this wrong because they actually own the course. They have their own site for reservations. You book tee times through them, but it's on the golf course. So it's very cool. Because of that, there's so much pride from them and such a great experience. So it's been awesome. Chris,
it's awesome.
Speaking of awesome courses, I mean, you got to play an awesome course that is only available a few weeks a year. How was that experience?
Yes. A quick question on this course you were talking about. Did they bring in disc golfers in the community to help test and design the course, or?
Absolutely. So I know they brought in some really well-respected people in the community. We've got Chris Ozelins, who is our like Ontario and our Canadian PDGA representative. He designs and helps with a lot of course stuff around here. Brought in, I think Jeff McKeegan, Kara Hovius. They're two of the most respected course designers. They actually design for Disc Golf Park. It's Prodigy T2 baskets. They catch really great, fantastic baskets. They got a practice basket with a practice area. And one of the nicest things too is some of the holes have like 500 foot walk in between holes. All of the paths are lined with the down trees that they cleared on the course.
wow.
Like it's incredible. They started this in January. They really started developing in March and installing baskets. So it's amazing. Huge shout out to them. And all the work that's gone in there it's incredible, but on a scale doesn't even compare to the toboggan.
Yes, the mighty toboggan is open for play. And for me, it always feels like summer is here when the toboggan opens. And it's an exciting time because we usually only get it for about 3 weeks before the U.S. Amateur Disc Golf Championship, because that's the first tournament that's held there. And then they keep it open right up until D-Glow, Discraft Great Lakes Open. And then basically the day after D-Glow, they pull it. So you don't have a huge window to play, especially if you're not playing one of those two tournaments, because they shut the course down, which is a hot topic lately. But the toboggan is shut down. You can't play it unless you're playing AmNats the 3 days before the tournament starts. And it's shut down about 4 days for practice before D-Glow starts. But I got to give a shout out to my main man, Dave Dermeyer. He's put a ton of work the last few years in redesigning a private course on his property, which whenever either of you come to town, I'm taking you to Ponder Hills to play.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
The Wiz has
Beautiful
told me
course.
so much about that place. I know the Wiz has
Yeah.
put in a lot of work with Dave over there too, helping him
Yeah.
out and doing some stuff. It sounds incredible. Holy.
That's Dave Dermeyer and Andrew Mills, but Dave last few years has put in, he doesn't like to be in the spotlight. Like, Dave's a humble guy, but he's put in a ton of work at the toboggan, and has formed a great relationship with the park, and they've kind of started handing over the keys to him to just really put a lot more work and input in. The course has cement tee pads this year for the first time, which it used to be these rubber fly mats, which I'm pumped about the cement, we'll just say that. And we've got some new holes at the toboggan this year. So there's actually, and you guys have to look at coverage if you don't know the course well, but you play 1 through 4, and instead of going to old hole 5, which was like a blind uphill Anheuser or a left to right shot, now then there's a new hole 5 and 6, which are wooded. So it adds a nice. Change of pace on the toboggan, which the 2 new holes still have elevation, which every hole at toboggan has elevation, but it's these holes, if you were in a wooded course, these holes wouldn't seem that technical, but after playing wide open shots on toboggan runs, you go into 4, you go into 5 and 6, and it's like, oh, I gotta hit some lines. So the holes are a lot of fun. The new 14-15 combo is ridiculous. It's insane. And they moved a couple tee pads back. So I think previous years toboggan was a par 63. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 64 or 5 this year.
I think it's really funny, especially with the guests we have on tonight, who hopefully will be joining us soon. Vanessa Van Dyken and Reid Frescura. Hope everything's okay with them. It's all good. We can talk your ear off all night anyways, folks. But it's funny you mentioned that for AmNats, the course is closed down 3 days before so you guys can practice. Meanwhile, for the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, Vanessa was told she could wake up at 6:45 to 7 a.m. and try to get to the course before it gets busy.
Yeah, not cool.
Not cool. And I think a lot hopefully will come from that, and people being so vocal kind of about what's gone on. And it's everywhere. We see it here in Ontario. praise the Lord, people are starting to get vaccinated at incredible rates here. I think we've hit almost 65%, 70% of the country that's eligible to get their first dose of vaccine has gotten it, which is amazing. So as we start to open up and see tournament registrations start to open up, what is that? The same complaints, the same and valid complaints are starting to come out into the woodwork again. FA1, FA2, FA3 divisions with 4-person caps in each division, when MA2 and MA3 have 55-person caps, right? And there are ladies that want to sign up. It's not even like, oh, if more people wanted to sign up, we'd have bigger divisions. Well, then why is there a wait list of 12 people for FA2 now? Because the sport's growing. And I think TDs need to understand that. If that means adapting the way you run a tournament, cutting tournaments down from 3 rounds to 2 rounds, cutting some tournaments down from 2 rounds to 1, and just allowing people to come out and have a great time and enjoy themselves. I mean, it means a lot. And having tournaments catered towards these new people, I think, is the biggest thing. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but there needs to be TD training, a TD handbook to help people that want to run tournaments. But yeah, hopefully that new course I've played at gets some tournaments going. You got MNats and D-Glow going on the toboggan, and then Paul Blair. We got some hot stuff happening in Portland this week.
Yeah, the Portland Open's taken over Glendevere Golf Course, which is another golf course turned into something useful.
Oh, I like that.
It's pretty
golf.
exciting.
Nice.
It's the only right word. It'll catch on.
It's beautiful.
It's all tickets for spectators are sold out. Portland's still under rather cautious level of COVID restriction, but the Fly Mart's open 7 to 10 p.m. on Friday, so if you want to zip down there and get a free COVID infection and a disc you can't get anywhere else, there we go. Speaking of which, I think that there's an opportunity here. If Discraft put an exclusive Dark Horse Macbeth collaboration stamp on a disc and offered it with proof of vaccination for a reasonable fee, I think we'd have pretty much 98% vaccination rates amongst the disc golf community. Yeah.
I was laughing about that earlier because, I know there's a lot of stuff you guys laugh at us Canadians about being silly for, but oh man, on the radio this morning, they were playing a radio show. Playing a radio spot from a car dealership that was on board and be like, if you come down and show your proof of vaccination, our grand prize is 1 truck. That's right. You don't win the truck, don't worry. Second and third prizes are hunting rifles. You don't win the hunting rifle, don't worry. We got shotguns for 3, 4, and 5. And I'm not making this stuff up. I was like, they're giving away cars and guns so that people get vaccinated. This is awesome.
They absolutely are. It's
Ohio
actually
has
a
a
state
lottery.
incentive. It's a state incentive in West Virginia. Guns, trucks, and cash. It's it kind of makes sense, I suppose. Save the people and condemn the animals nearby. But they made it clear that these are quote unquote hunting rifles and hunting shotguns. So apparently they can't be used against people. So that's a plus.
Well, you can go turd ball hunting.
Gonna leave a follow up to that statement to Brandon.
That's something they must do in northern Michigan, Paul.
Who's the title sponsor for the Portland Open?
It's a great question. I don't know.
That escapes me.
Do you know?
No, I
Could
can't
it be
remember.
us? Did we do it? Let's take credit for it.
Well, it's selfish question, full disclosure. If it's Discraft, hit me up
Dynamic. It's Dynamic
Okay,
Discs,
never mind, we're
Portland
good.
Open Disc Golf Pro Tour. So it'll be interesting to see who comes in second on FPO. That's always an interesting
Right?
race.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk a little Santa Cruz?
Yeah, we definitely can. And ignore, Vanessa and Reid. Vanessa can be me there with the hat, and Reid can be my little son there. That's my weird Zoom picture that I have there in place of Vanessa and Reid right now. But
It's a
we got
beautiful
our
picture.
U-Disc scoreboard up on the screen. And let's talk about FPO first for Santa Cruz. Aside from a little bit of faltering in the final round, and I think that was just foot off the gas pedal. She kind of knew she had it. Or maybe foot harder on the gas pedal because she kind of knew she had it.
Not faltering if you win.
100%. And what's funny is even through all the bogeys, she always had control. She always had control through all 3 days of that tournament. What I loved seeing was Juliana Korver playing disc golf like a 25-year-old, out there absolutely slaying it. The technicality of her throws. It was so cool to see her on film throwing. You hear so much about her, and I know so many people up and coming in the sport right now have heard about Juliana Korver and have looked her up on YouTube and seen her freestyle and seen her trick shots. But this weekend, we saw Juliana Korver play disc golf.
Dude, she is, you could say she's the GOAT for flying disc sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just period. But Paul, I think you were going to say something super hot. Go for it.
Oh, I often have something hot. It may not be actually. So I'm going to take some, since we do have a little extra time, I'm going to take some things that I had for tonight's news segment, which will now be even shorter. But there are some interesting things that popped up about that. Juliana Korver's finish was her best since 2006.
Damn.
Wow.
Which is saying something. And it brings us to a point where if you're anywhere near my age, you have lots of excuses for why you suck at disc golf, but they're all excuses. Look over in JK's corner and realize that if you worked, admittedly for the last 30 years on it, you could be that good too. So get a start. Take over that 70-plus division. You got time.
Well, and you look at people like Elaine King too, who still come out and play with just such consistency week in and week out. And Elaine King, got to give her a shout out. I don't know if many people know that Elaine King is actually from Canada. Her home course was my home course, Centennial Park here in Toronto, Ontario for a really long time. So, and Elaine throws some of Paul Blair's side piece plastic, MVP, and throws the hell out of it. And I know that Fission Photon, that Elaine King signature Fission Photon, is a staple in a ton of people with medium arm speeds bags. It gets a ton of distance. She crushes it because she throws the discs that are right for her. She plays the game that's right for her. Chris, I think that's the theme with those GOATs that you're talking about, is they know how to play the course their way, the way that's going to work for them. They don't try to beat anyone else. They don't try to show up anyone else. They're doing it for them. And that's my opinion. I think that's what it comes down to. It's what makes it so easy for them.
Okay. We're gonna just throw out some facts here.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't throw MVP and like Brandon don't know anything about it,
Maple Valley Plastics.
That's right. Fission plastic is the concept is a lightweight like flight plate and a heavyweight rim. Now that's kind of the MVP thing overall, but with Fission it's very lightweight in the middle. But here's the secret: they actually make those in weights up to the normal max weight. So you can get a 175 gram Fission Photon if you want. And then what you have is a disc that's got all of its weight around the edge. And when it still weighs as much as it does, it's going to fly like a 190 gram disc. So if you really think you've got a monster arm, pick one of those up and you'll discover you're wrong.
Well, actually, yeah, I've noticed because MVP Axiom, sister companies, are here in Michigan, like all great manufacturers. And they around here, people want the lighter weight stuff. They want like high 168, 165 gram discs, even some of the streamlined stuff, which is under that umbrella too.
That's the other advantage, is if you do get like a 160, it'll fly like a 175, but you can actually get it going if you have halibut arms, I think we call them.
I believe they call that gyro technology.
Something like that,
yeah. Yeah, it was a couple events ago, Juliana Korver was on the feature card. And I remember saying I was super jacked to see her. It might've been with the Macbeth Pierce page, shout out, Discraft Macbeth Pierce Collector Group. I think I was talking to the admins and I was like, oh, I can't wait. Yeah, it's a Facebook page. That was my most excited person to watch. And I love that it looks like she's jumping more into the tour this year. And I mean, her worst rated round this weekend was 936. And she's rated 925. She busts out a 980 and a 970. And I mean, if she's really committing to disc golf and touring, like she's gonna be a factor, guaranteed. I'll bet you a shoe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then
She's already there. You're predicting the present.
I also think there's a good showing by Alexis Mandujano. She had a great event. She coming in third, well, tying Juliana for third. That was a great showing for her as well.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget Katrina Allen, who for Paige Pierce's 30th birthday got her a gift of a 7 over round.
Yep.
Very generous.
Oof.
Yeah,
Well,
think about
speaking of
that.
people- Oh, sorry, Chris.
Oh, no, you're good.
No, you go, man, because I was going to move on.
Is it Paige's 30th birthday?
Yeah,
It
well,
was.
she turned 30. What? You wished her happy birthday. I mean,
I did. I wasn't sure what age.
and actually,
But
May
man.
31st, same day as my wife. I told my wife, "You got the same birthday as Paige Pierce," and she was like, "I don't care."
She's
And
got at
that's
least
how
another.
that's how lunch went yesterday. Happy
She's
birthday!
a-
Let's have this nice lunch together.
Yeah.
Your birthday's the same as Paige's.
At least another 5 years in prime time destroy everyone mode.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
Easy.
That was all I had to say.
It's actually older than I thought Paige was a couple years younger than that, so that threw me for surprise when she said she was taking on 30. Moving on to MPO. Let's do it because a friend of the DMNPCG, Mr. Adam Hammies,
Hell yes.
slayed the weekend
Yeah.
and ended up taking the person who everyone thought was going to be his probably biggest threat on Sunday and beating him by 3 strokes in Kevin Jones. But let's talk about a 13 down final round by James Proctor.
Yeah. Nasty.
A lot of new names this year.
James Proctor, Innova sponsored player, 100% scrambling, 0 OBs, 78% Circle 1X. So like it wasn't even like fire from Circle 1. He was just there. He was playing incredible.
Consistent.
One of the only Eagles on the day on 14. Incredible consistency and pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's been. I want to say James. I think he played in the Collegiate Disc Golf National Championship. It might have been my first year there. He was there competing, and we were like, "How the hell can this dude play here?" Because he was already over 1,000 rated and was crushing it. So he's been a heavyweight for a while. He's got 36 career wins. He's won a quarter of his events at 132.
That's incredibly impressive.
That's, yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I was super pumped to see Adam take it down, his first NT win, and I loved it looked like he was, borderline emotional. Like he was emotional for sure afterwards. And I really like that he pointed out, because I'd heard a couple people mention that he'll get fired up on the course and around, and just him like recognizing his personal growth and staying patient and staying calm and recognizing that personal evolution was a big factor in him taking it down this weekend.
I think Adam is an incredible kid. I think he has incredible talent, but I think he's super blessed too to be surrounded by some really awesome people. I know he's got a lot of love and respect for Brian. I know he's got a lot of love and respect for Jeff, and he's got the support of Jeff and the Resistance team and tons of support from Discraft and tons of support from all of the pros, and everyone's rooting for him. When he won, like when you're watching Sports Center and like someone hits the big shot and then they show all the all the tweets from like all the other basketball players like congratulating that people. That's what it was like when Adam won. Like Ezra gave him a huge shout out and Paul gave him a huge shout out, and because people are rooting for him because he deserves it. He works hard, and like Nico is an extreme example of this, but like people hate Nico because of that emotion.
We don't have time for that segment.
Right? But
just pick a couple reasons.
But let's be real, where there are a lot of reasons to dislike people, but I don't think a reason to dislike someone can ever be that their passion turned into emotion. If you have never had a situation where for you passion turns into emotion and you express that emotion outwardly, then I mean, you need to get more passionate about stuff, because it happens for me all the time. And I know for Adam, it was incredible for me to see that. I want to see that. I want to see him get fired up. This is competitive. It's disc golf. This is an NT event, right? And it was pretty awesome. His putting, when his putting is on, his putting is on.
His putting was
he puts with a focus. Actually, last year at Deagle, I gave him a crystal focus from 2010 Memorial. I need to hit him up and see if he's tried it or not.
I think he putts with the CTs too, which aren't that hard to find, which are pretty hard to find, I meant to say. So if you guys are listening and you got any CT focuses and you want to hook up Mr. Adam Hammies.
I got a nice box of foci still.
Foci.
Yeah.
The foci.
I will say I was kind of surprised. Macbeth shot 29 down. He was still in the hunt. I mean, he shot a good last round.
Slayed that last round.
I was a little surprised to see Ricky fall back a little bit this weekend.
Both of those have been on pattern though for the last few events. That's Wysocki's been hot and then faded, and Macbeth has started slow and then surged, but not quite enough. You look over the last 3 tournaments; that's kind of been the story.
Yeah.
Stop it, guys.
So did any of you guys see the Kona roll away? I did not see the Kona roll away, and I feel totally unprepared now. But David Hatt's asking us, what did we think about the Kona roll away? So I guess Kona had a nasty roll away, and
having not seen it, I'll go on record and say I was against it.
Having not seen it, I will go on record saying Kona is one of those people where emotion can definitely override passion. So if it was a nasty roll away, I don't feel great.
I think I did see. I think she had a roll away that went OB. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but there's a lot. There's a lot of rollaways. Absolutely. So it may have just blended into the mixtape of soul crushing that I have all those reserved in.
Well,
Hammy's had a pretty big one as well.
A big rollaway? Yeah, that was his was nasty.
Not that it mattered on his next putt, but
it reminds me of that putt Paul hit off the basket and it rolled away to like 60 feet, and he just walked up to it with his second putter and
just
sick. Stepped behind it and
just tossed it in.
That needs to be made in one of those. What are those little videos where they put the sunglasses on people?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
It had the same nonchalance that we all have.
Oh yeah.
We've all done that. We've all had a putt hit the rim and fall next to the basket. We just walk up and and drop it in. He just does it from 65 feet away. Same exact nonchalance.
Casually walks up,
cashed it.
Drops a putt I make once a month.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and give a shout out to our sponsors, Sweet Spot Disc Golf and Wolfpack Disc. Come back, see if our guests join us. If not, no frets. We've got some questions we were going to ask them that we can ask each other.
We're crushing the freestyle.
Some stuff going on here. And please, if you guys have got any questions, Thug Life videos, Kerns. Michael Warner helping us out in the chat. Michael Warner helping us out in the chat. Thug Life videos. Those are awesome.
Michael wins a crisp high five.
So we're going to cut to a sponsor break. And after that, we got some stuff for you guys. Shoot out some questions for us in the chat. They can be personal. They can be about disc golf. They can be about what we had for dinner. We just love you guys. And the 19 of you that are here supporting us, thank you so much. So we will be back very soon here on Circle 3.
Gather round, children. I, Ganfrolf, will tell you a tale of the times before. Of a legendary place, the sweetest spot in all the land, where circles of plastic would appear, glowing from our screens, and with the ritual of the cart, they would appear days later at our doors. The richest colors, the finest discs, and the kindest people. Oh, it truly was a sweet spot for disc golf. Some say this place still exists. Its vault sealed, the treasures glittering inside, awaiting the great prophecy of Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that comes again I hope you will be there.
Sweet Spot Disc Golf. So good, our advertising department writes fan fiction about us. You know that sound. That's the sound of grabbing up at the end of a long week. There's nothing better than cracking open a cold
Wolf?
and feeling that buzz
That's Discraft. Discraft Buzz.
start to take hold. At the end of a long workday, at the end of a long week, reach for us.
Wolfpack Discs.
We'll be there for you.
Most of that news is
And we are back.
front
on
and
Circle
center.
3, front and center. Paul Blair, do you have some news for us? Do you want to give us some news right now? Should we jump right into the round table? I'm going to leave it to you, sir.
Let's do the round table. Hold the news for later.
All right. We'll jump right into a
Although-
round table. Oh,
I'm actually sitting at
although-
a rectangular table.
Okay, let's do rhombus table tonight.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
First
The
question for
geometry
you
of the week
guys.
is
Let's talk about the Pro Tour. Coming up to another Disc Golf Pro Tour event in Portland. I want to have your guys' thoughts on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year so far. I mean, we've been hampered with some COVID restrictions. We had a late start to the season. Some events got postponed. Some events got canceled. My hot take, I think they've been killing it. I have been loving the coverage. I have been loving feeling like I'm there. Michael Warner says he's a trapezoid. I love it, Michael. I love it. I've been feeling like I'm there at some of these events. Love the addition of Nate Sexton to the panel, and then Coling the one time, and just them switching it up and keeping it fresh and engaging the viewers. Total bummer we couldn't be live at the Masters Cup. Totally get it. You can't really build new cell phone towers for a disc golf tournament, but it's been awesome. So we wanted to ask Reid and Vanessa about, their thoughts on what's going on for touring golfers on the Pro Tour, but from a spectator's perspective, Chris and Paul, how do you guys feel about the 2021 Pro Tour season?
I have to say, I think there's a lot of perspective involved, right? Because if you compare it to like 2019, yeah, it's got some difficulties. But if you compare it to the dumpster fire that 2020 was, it's magnificent. Quick side note about the whole can't build new cell towers. Actually, yes, you can. So hopefully we can get like Verizon or Starlink as a sponsor, because they do definitely have mobile satellite-based extenders available.
Yes.
And I mean, it's not an unsolvable problem. It's a problem you can't solve with a week's notice. And that my understanding was that they discovered this problem pretty late. But for next year, there's definitely possibilities. If you guys need a technical consultant, let me know.
Paul,
Yeah, I'd hate to see them go away from De La.
Yeah, that'd be a tragedy.
Keep De La, especially, and I guess here's my hot take. Can we actually play some more disc golf courses on the Pro Tour? I'll say the OTB Open, that course was sick for a golf course. That was awesome. That might be the first one I've seen that I actually enjoyed watching and was like, I'd go play that. Hell yeah. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't like a lot of the courses on tour for the first half of the season. It's a lot of golf courses. I'd rather see the woods. That's just me. But
Sounds like
overall,
for
the coverage is great.
Sounds like for the OTB Open, though, the guys were kind of just like given free reign. It was like, yeah, you guys, we're shutting the course down. You guys do what you want to do with it. And put the pins where you want. And I think a lot of the other events on tour, there's a lot of, you look at Wild Horse for the LVC, right? And you look at those courses and they're boring. They're super boring. All three of those courses. Could they be more interesting? Hell yeah. Emporia, is Emporia super interesting? Hell no. Has Eric McCabe done a little bit of work to try to make it more interesting, like extending the tee on hole 9 and really amping up the island on 16? Yeah, he has, but there's only so much you can do to a disc golf course that is complete shared space with a golf course, right?
Yeah, and there's something to be said for tradition and for the long running tournaments and stuff, but there's also something to be said for not playing on crap. And I think you can make a clean break with the history there, keep the name and move it someplace. What would be the term? Better. It's just because the competition is really stepped up, right? Like back Emporia was an amazing place to play. Not that I'd turn down playing there now, but it's the kind of place now I would imagine as a pro going in there, it's probably got that sort of old gym socks feeling. Like it's super comfortable. You came up in them, but there's some holes and some odd smells, extra humidity. I don't know.
Well, I'd also hate to see him go away from De La when this year they started putting in par fours. They've continued to tweak the course and try to evolve the course a little bit.
Look at the pro reaction to De La. They love it. They love
and I think
De La.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is if you have a course that the pros are enthusiastic about, you keep it. If you have a course that they complain about because it's full of artificial out of bounds that are 1 feet in front of barriers, because there are courses like that. I won't name any, but the pros complain about a course. There's better options out there, and not only that, there are resources available. Like you were just talking about up there in what do they call that, Canada? If you guys can do that in Canada with your 3 million people all hunkered in a single place for warmth, think of what we could do down here in the land of freedom.
Absolutely. I don't deny it for a second.
I hope they don't start steering the tour more towards everyone just wants to see bombs. Like I hope that isn't a direction they want to pursue. So,
and I think I want to see hyzer flips. I want to see people playing strategic golf. We talked about Ricky not doing so well, and I mean, I think one of the reasons is Ricky got tripped up by those woods. He got tripped up by those placement shots this weekend, and Paul, until the final round, definitely got tripped up, and I think it's a telling sign that they're playing all these long courses for a couple months, and then they come to this course here, and it's a little bit of a wake-up call, I think, for some of them. Meanwhile, over in Finland, you've got like Lauri Lettinen and Seppo Paju and Evelina Salonen just tearing apart Tampere, which is like Idlewild on crack. So
active wild.
Active wild. So like it's I agree, Chris. It's really funny. I'd love to see more diversity on the tour. I'd love to see, like, adding Jones Gold was awesome this year for Dynamic Disc Open, not playing all 4 rounds at Country Club and playing a disc golf course. That is a disc golf course, right? So
well, those courses are less predictable, and I want to see it less predictable. I want to see someone have to scramble. I want to see someone have to pull out a super creative shot and really shape the flight of a disc. Like, those are, when you're a newer disc golfer, it's cool to see that. And then when you're an experienced disc golfer like us, you're like, holy crap. I can imagine what it took to do that. Like, that's an amazing shot.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. Is I think that, since we know the tour planning committee's listening to us right now, what people want to see, the reason people like seeing bombs and the reason it's easy to say, like, okay, that's entertaining, is because what people want to see are shots that they can't make. They want to see the things that when they go out on Sunday, it doesn't work for them, but they can aspire to. And you can get that with bombs, and you can get that with technical shots. And the trick is we want both. And there's a lot of both out there.
Michael gave us a shout out in the chat again, and he said, no high hyzers at Della. And thank God, because it's really nice to not just see 500 foot. How do you throw a 500 foot hyzer anyways? That's a question for another day. I got 2 more questions for you guys, a little bit more roundtable. We're going to wrap it up early tonight, guys. And hopefully we can get Reid and Vanessa back on for maybe a bonus episode of Circle 3 sometime in the next little bit. We love them to death, and I'm sure something came up on their end. So a huge thanks to them anyways for making themselves available. And we cannot wait to have them on in the future.
Truth
was
be told,
he's probably just shopping for short shorts, right, Chris?
yeah, I was going to say I hit him with a short joke earlier, and this might be revenge. I don't know. With that, and I also teased Vanessa about not actually being from Finland. So a lot of people apparently don't know she's from San Diego, but whatever.
A lot of people don't know San Diego's not in Finland.
I know, right? And they also don't know there's a Holland, Michigan, where her and Reid live now.
So,
It's a
Chris,
complicated world.
I think, Chris, you asked me this. Maybe Paul did. One of you guys did. This is a great question. So I want to ask you guys this. And what Discraft disc is the one disc? It says we were going to ask them when they win their 5th world championship, what would they design? But if you guys could design that Discraft disc that's missing, what is it? Paul, might be easy for you because, maybe there's an MVP disc that just doesn't exist in the Discraft lineup that you love. Maybe we'll start there.
Yeah,
what's your disc?
Is the Discraft Fission Photon a bad answer?
So what are the flight numbers on a Photon, just to give people perspective that...
Oh, let's not get started on flight numbers. That's a whole segment in and of itself.
Let's talk more about diameter on the rim, and
let's talk about completely subjective ratings that are essentially made up by every company and which are rarely adhered to in their inconsistent production runs in between different plastics.
So we don't need to talk about flight numbers, but a Photon is an 11-speed disc.
Yeah.
So it has an 11-speed rim, and it is an 11-speed semi-understable disc that still has finish. Would that be a correct? Correct assumption? Depending on the plastic.
For me, there's no understability. For me, it's a solid hook. But maybe you throw it harder. I don't know. No, honestly, I mean, one of the
comparative.
The thing about the whole gyro thing is it really doesn't fly like anything else, and that's why I like it. The wave is also amazing, but I think that the short answer is my true answer to this is that I think actually Discraft has the best rounded out lineup of discs. Period. A lot of companies are missing things like the Sol. A good 5 or 6 speed understable mid, which is something that people who haven't mastered the forehand can really use to turn right on a right-handed shot. I mean, you got Paige Pierce using that for that purpose. She's leaning on it. That's how good that disc is, and that's missing from pretty much every other company's lineup. And if it is there, it's not supported very well. It's not actually used. You don't see it hyped up. So it's really, for me, I probably wouldn't. I would do. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I might take another disc and just put my name on it.
So Josh Weisenauer in the chat would like a turn-resistant fairway driver that has a straight flight with a slight left finish. So it's not a fairway driver, Josh, but something that has now made its way into my bag is the Surge SS. It is an absolute incredible disc. 11 speed, maybe a little bit faster than you're expecting, but it absolutely flies straight with a lot of resistance to torque. If you really rip on it, it's going to get a little bit of turn, but it finishes. It's got incredibly consistent finish to the left. I've actually started using it for a forehand, throwing hyzer flips with it. Flips up really nice, big push to the left, and finishes straight on that center line. So Surge SS might be something to try there. Mine is the Justice by Dynamic Discs. I want Discraft to make a Justice. I want an overstable mid-range. A Buzz OS is not overstable enough. I want something. I don't know if you guys have tried the Extremes. I have an Extreme in my bag now. I love it, but I want that overstability in a mid-range. Something I can throw as hard as I can on a forehand that's always going to move to the right, being right-handed. And the problem with the Buzz OS, the problem with the Malta, the problem with all of these discs, the Quake by DGA,
they're not overstable
is by far the best,
enough.
but they're not overstable enough, no matter what plastic you get them in. So my dream disc from Discraft would be a very, very, very beveled, very, very flat, and very, very low profile, overstable mid-range. And if I had to give it a name, I would probably call it the Discraft Blaze.
Oh,
interesting. That would fit with the the heat, scorch, but those are understable discs more so.
I know, but okay, fine.
Think you're
What if we
missing the
called it?
reference, Chris?
Yeah. What if I actually wasn't going there, Paul? But what about okay? We got the Raptor. What's something like a Raptor? What's like a
Maple dip.
smaller Raptor?
The
Call it the
Discraft
maple dip.
Ankylosaurus.
There we go. The Discraft Ankylosaurus. The Discraft Dilophosaurus.
I'd
I have
I'm
to-
sticking
I have
with
to
maple
say-
dip.
I have to say you're 100% right. I didn't even think about the whole overstable mid-range thing because I've had the MVP deflector in my bag for so long, and I forget that anything else exists in that space. You're absolutely right. The Quake is good. It's not good enough. Discraft,
Yeah.
do it.
David Hatt's asking about a Malta, and I don't want to slight the Malta because
Malta's a good disc.
for a backhand, the Malta is plenty overstable, but there's a big difference, and what not a lot of people will consider is in torque and in speed between a forehand and a backhand, and the amount of spin you're putting on a disc. And the one thing about a Malta is designed to hold its line for the amount of spin you put on a 5-speed disc on a backhand. But as soon as you're throwing forehand, it's a whole different ball game, and regardless of how stable that Malta is, you're still going to get some wobble, and you're still going to get some push to the left for a right-handed forehand player. So I don't want to throw it on hyzer and let it flip up. I want something I can ram out there flat, throw out there hard on Annie, and know it's going to come back every time for that 250 to 270 foot range.
And
Chris,
it has a bead. Beads
Doesn't Paul
feel
just throw a
weird.
zone for those?
you know, but most people do throw a zone for those, but
My forehand is trash, so I'm not
the
criticizing.
thing about a zone is I think most people that throw a good forehand with a zone, it's more of a straight flying shot with a fair finish, right?
Yeah.
If I'm throwing a Z zone, the first 250, 260, 270 feet of the flight path will be straight. And then for the last 15 to 20 feet, you'll see it fade to the right. Whereas with a Justice, if I'm throwing it 300 feet, it'll go straight for the first 200, and then it'll fade for the last 100 feet of the flight because it's so overstable. So if I'm throwing holes that are 300 feet, but they're actually 240 and then like a 70, 80 foot kink to the right, that Justice is just so perfect. And the Glow Quake is good, but if Discraft could design something a little bit more overstable, I'd love it. Chris Kerns, you've been bagging all Discraft for a while now. So what is the one shot for you that you got to work a disc a little bit too much to obtain, and you wish you could just have that perfect disc for?
Let's see. Well, one, if you haven't tried it, maybe check out those Ledgestone trackers, the ones that had the 3.0 stability. It's not a mid, it's a fairway, but it is like the most overstable disc I've ever tried to throw. You can't throw it
Do you mean
the distance of a
do you mean
fairway.
the tracker or the Extreme?
Tracker.
Because the
Ledgestone
Extreme
tracker.
The Extreme is like that too. It's the most overstable disc I've ever thrown in my life. I can
I
throw
want
it
to say
on
it's
the
like
back.
2016 Ledgestone.
Nuts. I got to look that up. That's awesome.
So just hop down to your local store.
Yeah.
I'll
Go to Sweet
message
Spot.
the wizard.
For me, man, it's gonna sound like such a homer thing, especially because I have a underground polo on, but I can't think of something that I don't have a hole in the bag. Here's what I'll say. There's two discs I used to throw a ton that I loved, and I don't think Discraft has a total copy of, which would be the Valkyrie. Back when I had a mixed bag, I used to love Valks. I kind of throw similar shots with like a Stalker a little bit, but I could throw a Valk farther.
It's not the same though. The Valkyrie sits right in between a Heat and an Undertaker. There's no disc in between the Heat and the Undertaker. You're 100% right.
And the Valkyrie used to have the world distance record is 806 feet. So that was a fun disc. And then the Beast, but specifically the 03 Barry Schultz World Champion Beast, the one-time Beast. Yeah, the 03 Beast was my jam. I used to love that disc. So I don't know if I was going to take the Valk and move it over to Discraft and give my own name. I think I'd probably just call it the double. I don't know. Be cheesy about it, but I don't care. At me, bro.
The approver.
I love
Yeah.
those discs though that are balanced, where it's got like a -2 turn, 2 fade, and as made up as flight numbers are, the Valk flies like that. It flies like a very balanced disc where you get that perfect turn to carve that little path around the tree, and then you know it's going to come back for you.
Dude, that was my first driver I could shape an S curve.
Yeah,
shot
me
with.
too. Absolutely. I had a really nice yellow star. I actually had a star Valk, a star Wraith, and a star Mako 3. And I wiped all the stamps except for like the little star symbol and the name of the disc on them. I thought they looked so cool. And they did. They looked really cool. And they were awesome discs. And I threw the crap out of those discs. And the Wraith, the Valkyrie, and the Mako. And I think the Mako, you've got really similar discs in Discraft. The Wraith, I think that Surge is incredibly, the Surge SS is incredibly similar to a Wraith. But that Valkyrie, you're right. Like in a 9-speed disc between the Heat and the Undertaker, there's not much that exists. And you could find some pretty flippy Undertakers that
The Stalker is the closest for me.
But the Stalker for me, compared to a Valkyrie, maybe flight-wise, but the Stalker's got a bead that the Valkyrie doesn't have. And the Stalker's
I'm talking
also,
flight, though.
Stalker's also a lot deeper disc. So for fairway drivers, it's all about feel. I love the fairway driver that's slim, feels like a distance driver. That's one of the reasons that Valkyrie is such a great disc too. So bead or no bead? That leads to
Almost
a different question.
almost any disc I can feel fine with. It's just the flight. That's the main. Like, if you could give me a buzz flight at every speed, that's all that would be in my bag.
Love it.
You'd have like 15 buzzes at all speeds.
Bead or no bead, Kerns?
I've putted with both. I used to putt with a Focus.
So for throwing, how do you feel about throwing discs with a bead?
I don't mind it. Again, for me, it's just the flight. I can throw either. As long as it flies the way I want, I'm good.
I don't like beaded discs, so I'm no bead. Chris is bead. It doesn't matter to him. What about you, Paul? How do you feel about beads?
They have their place. Most of the time, that place is someone else's bag. But
I thought you were going to say B-hole.
the bead is a tool, and if you're carrying a bag with 27 discs in it, I think you're gonna, and you don't have something beaded, you don't have something nice and floppy that stops. I would kill for a Crystal Flex Malta, something that's just gonna hit the ground and just be done. That would be great. So Discraft, if you're listening, that's my next order.
Jawbreaker Malta would be pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah.
But trees.
Trees, rocks, stiff winds.
It'd be overstable for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's because you didn't play for 11 days.
It's like Discmania has the method, right? It's like super overstable mid-range. Simon Lizotte has his Shadow Titan. Anyways, they made the method in their exoplastic, which is like their baseline plastic. And that's exactly what it is. It's Discmania's latest overstable mid-range for a week.
Yeah, but on the upside, at least then it beats into something usable, whereas the other things in that plastic beat into things that have a right turn signal permanently stuck on.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to keep you too long tonight. It's been fun hanging out with you. We do have a giveaway tonight, and it's going to be a little bit different. So to be eligible for tonight's giveaway, the first thing we're going to do is give a shout out to the Discraft, Macbeth, and Pierce Collectors Group. Huge thank you to the admin team and the participants there for sponsoring the podcast and paying for our subscription to Podbean and letting us be on your favorite podcast platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, you name it. So the contest this week is simple. Number one, head to the Discraft, Macbeth, and Pierce Collectors Group. Join the group. You can answer some questions. If you put podcast or just type podcast in your question, if you're watching or listening to this, we'll approve you really quick. We're going to post a giveaway. The way the giveaway is going to work is you need to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora. It doesn't matter. Send us a screenshot on the group, and you will be given a number, and we will be giving away our prizes, $25 to sweetspotdiscgolf.com, and a wicked Wolf Pack Discs hat. We will be running the contests for 1 full week starting tomorrow until next Wednesday, June the 9th. Again, head to Facebook and look up the Discraft, Macbeth, and Pierce Collectors Group for more information. Chris, Paul, what do you guys got planned for the rest of the week?
I'm going to join that group and check it out. Sounds friendly.
I will say, please do answer the membership questions. Please. But I got 2 tournaments this weekend. One's team match play, the other's at Independence Lake, and then hoping to get a few more practice rounds at the Toboggan before, not this weekend, but the following. I'm competing in the United States Amateur Disc Golf Championship, so I'm a busy bee.
Looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been a great time. Chris, Paul, always great hanging out with you guys. Vanessa, Reid, hopefully we'll see you soon, and hopefully everything's good with you guys. So,
well. Thoughts and prayers, I think.
Thoughts
they
and
say.
prayers, yeah.
F in the chat for Vanessa and Reid. If everyone doesn't know what that means, that's just what you do when someone's
To pay respects.
to pay respects.
You press to pay respects.
That's right.
So with that, that's been episode 6 of Circle 3. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Check out for some announcements with some great guests, and don't forget to join the group. I see a couple people in the YouTube chat here saying that they've attempted to join. We'll get to those
Membership
requests.
questions.
We will get you guys in, answer the membership questions, and join us in 2 weeks for the next episode of Circle 3. Until then, it's Brandon, Chris, and Paul saying goodbye, see you soon, and have a
Au
great
revoir.
Yeah, you got the names right. I have trouble with that.
week. See you guys soon.